Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting. The BLM and the county get together in an effort to bring order to the river corridor. And the Red Rock Elementary School is looking for volunteers for next year's parent-assisted classrooms. We'll have those stories when the Channel 6 News continues.
Today is a very good day. You've got a new set of wheels and a license to drive. You, my friend, are on a roll. Can your life get better than this? You bet your spandex because you're going to McDonald's to wheel some delicious deals. Only 59 cents for a regular hamburger, 69-cent cheeseburger, and 99 cents for a chicken fajitas or breakfast burrito. Wow. You ask someone to pinch you. A volunteer. Yes, your life is good. And at these prices, it only gets better at McDonald's today.
This moment of silence for your reading pleasure is brought to you by B. Osborne Books and Magazines.
Slip into something comfortable for spring with on-the-edge activewear and contoured Birkenstock sandals. Birkenstock, lightweight, flexible, long-lasting, and now more stylish than ever in a spectrum of spring colors to match any wardrobe. And if we don't have your style, we'll special order it for you. Find the meaning of comfort with activewear and Birkenstock at On the Edge.
The Bureau of Land Management and Grand County are looking at improvements along the Colorado River corridor. Here's Ken Davey with a report.
A joint project of the county, state, and federal government is about ready to go. It's a plan to develop the Colorado River corridor, and officials hope the project will cut down on some of the degradation of the area. That was the discussion at Monday's County Commission meeting when Bureau of Land Management Moab District Manager Roger Zortman appeared, along with District Recreation Specialist Russ Van Koch and Grand Resource Area Manager Brad Palmer. The river corridor has experienced a massive jump in the number of recreationists and campers, to the point that at certain times of the year, the area gets so crowded the smoke from the campfires literally chokes the canyon, and human waste threatens to pollute the land. The BLM has been looking at plans to set up more bathroom facilities and to establish designated campgrounds, with the hope that management will better protect the resources than the current free-for-all we see throughout the spring and on busy weekends literally all year long. According to the BLM, the plan is to tap into a fund of money available for river enhancement programs. Phase 1 of the program will construct the first of the facilities and set the basis for future phases of the project. Russ Van Koch told the Commission how the cost of the program will break down.
The total project proposing here for both the Green River and the Colorado would be $442,000.
Is that through all phases?
Phase 1 of the Colorado. Contributing to that would be the $167,000 match of state funds, a match of $189,000 from BLM, and a match of $86,000 from the county, primarily through the road department, and assisting with providing the safe vehicle access, transporting materials to these recreation sites and helping us lay down the road systems and that type of thing.
Let's not simply turn in an application to hope it happens, but as a county commission, we'd be more than delighted to follow through and even make trips and twist arms and whatever it takes to get this done, because everybody's put in a lot of resources.
The river corridor has been an important asset to Moab and Grand County, but the recent overuse and abuse of the area has turned it into a kind of liability. The new BLM plan is seen as a way to limit some of that damage. But some local residents would like to see even more limits. The current plan calls for establishing a large campground in the Goose Island area, not far from the Colorado River Bridge. But at least one business, Canyonlands by Night, believes a big campground right on the water will add rather than detract from the pollution. The agency says their plan is still in the formative stage, that they will incorporate the comments made in the recent public comment period. One possible change would be to scale down the size of some of the camping areas and move them further away from the banks of the river. This is Ken Davey for Channel 6.
In other business, the Commission heard from Arlo Fawcett, a former State Tax Commission employee who now hires out his services to counties to collect property tax. This year, the state has changed its method of collecting tax on oil and gas wells, going from a percentage of a year's production to what is called the discounted cash flow system, which takes into account such factors as age and type of well. While oil companies and state officials say it is a more accurate way to determine a well's value, local areas say it will reduce the amount of taxes collected from those wells. According to Grand County Attorney Lyle Anderson, San Juan County officials fear it will lower their oil property valuations by 10 to 20%, and in Uintah County, as much as 30 to 40%. Fawcett said on a contingency basis, he will work to be sure oil facilities in Grand County are accurately recorded. The commission said they would look at a written proposal from him. Commissioners also heard from Arches National Park Superintendent Noel Poe on a joint effort to pave the dirt road out to Wolf Ranch and Delicate Arch.
And it averages during the season 918 cars a day on that stretch of road. Yeah. It's just way too much for a dirt road. So we need to improve it, and then at the same time we'll be improving that parking lot and surfacing the parking lot down there so that we can stripe it when we get done with it and control parking.
Most of the material for the work will come from the federal government, with the county providing labor and equipment. The commission also approved a resolution to have Grand County residents vote this November on continuing the taxing power of the hospital district. The district was established in 1983 for a period of 10 years. Volunteers are needed for next year's parent-assisted classrooms at Red Rock Elementary School. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
Get in on the fun with this 91 Ford Explorer at Certified Ford. This V6 automatic XLT comes complete with power windows and locks, air conditioning and cruise control for your ease and comfort, and pinstripes running boards and an AM/FM cassette for the sport in you. Low mileage too. See it today at Certified Ford.
Randy, I
just had a thought. That's just what I was thinking.
And so went the creation of Canyon Country Realty, doing business in the code of the Old West.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
For the past 2 years, a unique educational experience has been going on at the Red Rock Elementary School. An experiment that has, according to everyone involved, resulted in a better education for young students. It's the parent-assisted classroom concept underway now at the 1st and 2nd grades. A number of parents have scheduled themselves to help with the educational process on a regular basis, both in and out of the classroom. 2nd grade teacher Linda Warner is completing her 1st year with the program. She told Channel 6 what it's all about.
The parents have committed to come in weekly and assist in their children's classrooms. This enables us to do many, many things that a teacher cannot do alone.
How does it help you as a teacher?
I've been able to do playwriting, I've done social studies stations with timelines. The children get individualized help with problems that they may have in the classroom as we work on all of the subjects.
Has it been useful for the students?
Yes, my students this year have made extreme growth. They're all very interested in reading and reading at level, and many of them above level, simply from the influence that they've had to have their questions answered.
Parents involved make a big commitment to the program. According to Karen Clark, it's been very much worth the effort.
Well, I became involved last year through Mary Mullen's first grade class when I felt that my daughter was ready to go to school because we had been doing home teaching. And I saw that there was a group of parents here in this school that had gotten this program together, and I decided that I wanted to be a part of it.
And how has it worked out?
It's worked out great. It's really been good. The kids have learned a lot, the parents have been involved, and it's just been a real good program.
The parent-assisted classroom is a grassroots effort, says school principal Margaret Hopkin, with the direction and motivation coming from parents themselves.
Well, I had a number of parents come in, and the parents were really excited about being not just involved in a traditional sense, but involved in much more depth in the curriculum. And it just kind of snowballed. I mean, as we started to talk, everybody got excited, and it was really risky because we'd never done anything like this before. But the parents were committed, and we found Mary Mullen, who became the committed teacher, and that's the combination we needed.
Because the program has only been in operation 2 years, it's hard to quantitatively judge its success. But the plain fact is that students in the classrooms have scored better than average in standardized tests. That fact has helped teachers, beginning with Mary Mullen in the first grade and Linda Warner in second, make the decision to go with it.
It's kind of intimidating to know that you're going to have 20 parents that are actively involved, and you have to do all of the planning and all of the organization. And, you know, Linda and Mary just jumped in, and they learned by doing.
I was really excited about the concept. I was a little hesitant at my abilities to know exactly how to use that many parents, but I have learned this year I can use them all.
And it isn't only the students who gain. Parents more in tune with the educational process understand better the role they can play.
They know what their children are doing. They see what the expected level of work, and it also keeps them in touch with their children, are very aware that education is extremely important. It's important that many of the parents have taken and arranged their work schedules to come up with that time. Some who haven't been able to work at home on projects, and the children see this and they know if it's that important to mom and dad, then it's important to me.
Well, I've learned a lot about how the school system works and also what parents and teachers can do working together to change that and work within the system to enrich the quality of the education for the kids.
Each new school year means more parents are needed to help out, and Red Rock is looking now for next year's volunteers.
Assuming that they're at the beginning of everything, they should come by the office and fill out a form that expresses their interest, because we're looking at placement for next year, and so we're just collecting names at this point. And once their name gets on the list, then we'll be calling parents for meetings, and we can get going. So the first step is just to get enrolled through the office.
And you can call the Red Rock Elementary School at 259-7326. The Moab City Council continues with its deliberations regarding the upcoming city budget. They will meet Tuesday and Thursday evenings beginning at 6:30 at City Hall, and both days they will also discuss the city's future sanitation collection. The current contract with Bob's Sanitation of Moab is scheduled to run out this summer. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
Spring is busting out all over at Spanish Valley Nursery. Quality new stock is arriving almost daily at the best prices around. Select from an abundance of evergreen and flowering shrubbery and container-grown roses. Decorative grasses, ground covers, and ivies line the path to the greenhouse, where it's full steam ahead for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. And it doesn't stop there. The backup stock is growing in the wings. Come enjoy the bounty of spring at Spanish Valley Nursery, where it's always first quality.
For all your insurance needs in Moab, it's Central Utah Insurance. Home, auto, business, and life. You can depend on the fast, friendly service at Central Utah Insurance, 471 South Main.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Hazy sunshine and lots of clouds stayed in the valley through Tuesday afternoon, with afternoon high temperatures climbing above the 90-degree mark. But look for unsettled weather over the next few days. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for partly cloudy skies through Wednesday and Thursday as a front moves over the state. Look for some scattered afternoon and evening thunder showers with temperatures slightly cooler, highs in the 80s. But by Friday, the rain should clear out, leaving some clouds and mercury readings going up again to the 90-degree mark. And by Saturday, it could reach 100 degrees for the first time this year. And that's the news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. National park officials say they may have to come up with new ways to handle the crowds at Arches National Park. We'll have that story when Channel 6 News continues.
For all your insurance needs in Moab, it's Central Utah Insurance. Home, auto, business, and life. You can depend on the fast, friendly service at Central Utah Insurance, 471 South Main.
Randy, I just had a thought. That's just what I was thinking.
And so went the creation of Canyon Country Realty, doing business in the cold of the Old West. If it's housewares, fabrics, or school supplies you need, think Sprouse. If it's bed and bath items or health and beauty aids you're looking for, think Sprouse. For greeting cards, footwear, or toys, think Sprouse. For more values more often, think Sprouse. Now for extra savings, look for these special tags. Manager's special purchases, jackpot buys, and discount food and snacks. Sprouse.
For the best RV camp park in Moab, it's Holiday Haven, with oversized spaces to accommodate the largest RV and cool, comfortable tent sites under mature shade trees, all with a convenient central location. Holiday Haven is also Moab's finest mobile home park that offers country living in the city. An established park with pool, playground, laundry facilities, and a retired section. For comfortable RV or mobile home living, it's Holiday Haven, 400 North, 5th West.
The National Park Service may have dodged a bullet when the state of Utah last week decided to hold off on plans to develop state parcels within Arches National Park. But that decision is only temporary, and the long-range problems of protecting the resources and keeping them open to a growing number of visitors remains. For the moment, state-owned lands in Arches will remain undeveloped, but the state is moving to decide just how much they could get for the parcels, according to Arches Superintendent Noel Poe.
We had an exciting meeting last Thursday on the 14th of May. The Division of Lands and Forestry had written up a draft position in which they felt that it was time that the division initiate some feasibility studies on the state school sections within the park boundaries. And these feasibility studies, they propose to include well drilling activities, digging holes for perk tests, and other surface disturbing type activities. The 4 national parks involved were very concerned that these soil disturbing activities would lead down the road eventually to development that we felt were incompatible with the purposes of the park.
The Land Board, which generates income for the State School Trust through the sale or lease of state lands, decided to implement half of its program.
After 2 days of intense meetings, as you might imagine, the decision was made by the Land Board to go ahead and start the feasibility studies, but no ground disturbing activities, at least until their November meeting.
At issue is about 7,000 acres of land within the park boundaries, including parcels in Salt Valley and at the Eye of the Whale Arch, 2 areas the state sees as potential areas for commercial activity.
And so they have talked about in the past perhaps motel sites, campground sites, service stations or restaurants or something like that on either one of these 2 sections.
And that's a situation the parks do not want to see.
Well, I guess I'd have to be honest and say we don't want to see any development. We feel that any additional commercial development within the 4 park areas would be incompatible with the purposes that the park was established for.
For more than 2 decades, the state and federal governments have debated the issue of what to do with the lands, and Poe says they are moving closer to an agreement.
Almost everybody wants to see these lands exchanged out of a park. You know, that's the position of the State Land Board, majority of a State Land Board, the Division of Lands, the BLM, the Park Service, the Conservation Community, the Congressional Delegation from Utah. And there's a lot of things happening right now that I don't know whether we'll have a final solution by November, but we're going to be much closer to getting these lands exchanged.
The Utah Congressional Delegation has introduced federal bills to allocate the funds for the purchase. But the reasons the state of Utah now sees more value in the parks is seen every day at Arches, with more and more visitors almost every day. In 1989, the park issued a 15-year general management plan. Now, that 3-year-old plan is almost obsolete.
When the general management plan was done back in the late 80s, it was approved in 89, they estimated that by the year 2005, our visitation would be 800,000 people. Last year, we had 705,000 people in 1991. So far this year, we're running close to 20%. At the end of April, April of 92 compared to April of 91, our visitation was up 34% for that month. As you know, April was a real nice warm month and we had a lot of visitors. So our visitation is way beyond the projections of a general management plan.
The crush of visitors has a definite impact on the quality of the park experience.
Anytime you travel in Arches today, in the spring of a year, of a summer, of a fall, it doesn't matter. You'll see that the parking lots are crowded. People are starting to park on the shoulders of the roads. You'll see a lot of social pullouts as you go up the park, up the road into the park, and people are trampling the vegetation and, just pulling right off into the vegetation.
Poe says the service is looking at new ways to meet the needs of increasing numbers of people and also protect the park values.
I think there's some management strategies that we could use here to help reduce the impacts visitation is occurring to the resource.
Would that be reducing the numbers itself or just redirecting them?
Redirecting them now. Perhaps better signs, for one thing. Our sign program greatly needs overhauled. Better signs, perhaps some rail fences in places that are sensitive where we want to keep the people away from the vegetation and the soil. Better trails, more well-defined trails, perhaps, some of these strategies. But if visitation continues to increase in these Colorado Plateau parks, somewhere down the line, whether it's a year 2000 or 2010, we've got to start addressing, what are we going to do with increasing visitation? And is limitations acceptable to the American public, and how we instigate that system?
The governor decides not to put on the ballot a prayer amendment to the state constitution. And weather makes it tough on a local business. We'll have those stories when Channel 6 News continues.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Spring is here, and if images of shovels, rakes, sprinklers, hoses, fertilizer, and peat moss are running through your head, run on down to Moab Hardware and Furniture. This year, save backstring with this handy thatching blade that fits right on your mower. Save money with Ace brand fertilizer, 20-pound bag, just $3.99. And we'll loan you the spreader at no charge. Moab Hardware and Furniture, the garden spot for all your gardening needs.
Make Nelson's Heating and Refrigeration your first step to cool this summer with one of their new swamp coolers. Nelson's also offers parts, service, and installation. And if it's appliances you're after, Nelson's proudly presents Whirlpool and Maytag brands for low energy use, fewer repairs, and great warranties. Nelson's Heating and Refrigeration, serving Moab for 30 years, 1070 Bowling Alley Lane.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
It doesn't look like voters will be deciding this fall to amend the state constitution. Proponents in the state legislature of loosening the Utah separation of church and state provisions were not able to muster the two-thirds support Governor Norman Bangerter had asked for to propose the question of a special session of the legislature. Earlier this year, a judge ruled that prayers in public meetings in Utah violated the state constitution, which is stricter than the federal constitution in keeping church and government separate. The majority of Utah lawmakers and the governor opposed that ruling, and some wanted a quick constitutional amendment to be voted on this year by state residents. Brigham Young University law professor Richard Wilkins urged the lawmakers to go slowly because a fast constitutional change would be challenged in court and the state could lose. The decision to hold off means a change in the Constitution will not take place until at least 1994. In other legislative action, the governor made good on his promise to help Arches Winery, the only winery in Utah. The business is located in Spanish Valley and buys grapes from vineyards in Spanish Valley and Castle Valley. Last spring, the legislature passed a tax break for the winery, allowing it to charge less tax than the sale of other out-of-state wines are charged. Bangerter vetoed that, saying it was not legal. Instead, he proposed to rework the law, and he did so. This time, the passage of the bill by state lawmakers will go into law this year, and Arches Winery will benefit to the tune of about $47,000. It can be tough running an outdoor business. That lesson was learned by Castle Valley Nurseries of Castle Valley Academy this year. The greenhouses provide seedlings for a number of local gardeners each spring from an outside table set up on Main Street, right near Family Drug. On hand are the usual flowers and vegetables, but so far this year it's been a struggle to keep them out. Earlier in the spring, a freak storm damaged a number of plants, according to Mabel Hamstra, who was staffing the table on Wednesday.
Yeah, we had a hailstorm that came in and took care of some of our peppers and tomatoes just as we brought them down. So that kind of ruined the beginning of our business.
Then the heavy storm Tuesday evening ripped the roof right off of their table, blowing it into the street.
Wind blew is all I know. I wasn't down here, but the drugstore over here told me that, and the policeman had to carry the top that blew off over here they carried out the street and put it over here. And so I was told.
Much damage to the plants?
There is some. Some of the plants were tipped over, and some of the heavy weights were into the plants, and yeah. Some of the geraniums were dumped out.
The nursery sales, by the way, go to help students at the Castle Valley Academy, a private religious school, and it helps them pay for their education.
Help the students. The students work in it all winter long, work in the greenhouse, and they work on their tuition. And this goes toward educating our students.
Despite the problems, we can look forward to the plant and vegetable table staying up for about another month.
Monday through Friday, and 9 o'clock until 5:30. And we close at 5:30, but we have a can here where they put their money if we're gone. And sometimes we have a nice amount in it when we unlock it in the morning. So we can really trust our people around Moab.
Have you noticed that the up-and-coming Come Hither sign for visitors is a flag? Some companies must really want them because they have flags all over the place, including the newest realty office in town, Canyon Country Realty. Operated by Ray Tibbetts and Randy Day, the new office will hold its open house this Friday, and Tibbetts invited everyone in town.
It's Randy and myself have just opened this new business here, and everybody in town is welcome to it. We'd certainly like to have everybody participate and become part of the festivities. We'll have drawings for, free river trips and dinners at Dos Amigos. We've got gift certificates from Briggs Hardware and a lot of other wonderful prizes and so forth. So we'd like to have everybody come out.
The company has been running an ad on Channel 6, and Tibbetts says it's gotten a lot of comment.
And one lady walked in and said, well, we realize that you're able to invent the rocks and lightning, but what else can you do? And I said, well, we know how to walk on water. All you got to do is remember where the rocks are.
Other businesses are now open in town, including the long-awaited Comfort Suites on Main Street. Also open is the Moab Valley Inn. And in a short time, we can expect Pasta J's Restaurant at the Canyonlands Inn and Fat City Smokehouse Restaurant on First West to open their doors as well. Well, up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
How do you have an instant party? Just buy a sack of subs at Subway. Take them home and serve them family style. It's more fun because everyone gets a taste of everything and no one has to cook. So if unexpected guests drop by unexpectedly or you don't feel like cooking dinner, pick up a sack of subs at Subway. We specialize in solving emergencies with food.
For more information on these and other fine sandwiches, visit the Subway near you.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
Well, clouds stayed in the valley on Wednesday with some strong winds and occasional showers during the day, but there should be a change for the better the next few days. Official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for clouds to stay around through Thursday, with patches of sunshine raising the thermometer readings back into the 80s. By Friday, expect bright sunshine once again, mercury readings up to the 90s, and by Saturday and Sunday, get ready for more summer weather, highs close to 100. And that's news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. Have a good day.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting. A new housing development at Holiday Haven Mobile Home Park looks like it will go forward. And finances will be on the minds the next month of both the City Council and the County Commission. We'll have those stories when the Channel 6 News continues.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
You don't have to travel farther than On the Edge Activewear at 415 North Main for great-looking clothes for the whole family. Keep it cool this summer with Ocean Pacific Swimwear featuring Keep It Blue, 1- and 2-piece suits with coordinating hats and bags. On the Edge also has swimwear and sunwear for men and children. Great tanks, tees, and even Wrangler Western wear, rugged denim, and dandy dress Western snap and button front shirts. Many styles of clothes for all styles of active people who live life on the edge. 415 North Main.
Spring is busting out all over at Spanish Valley Nursery. Quality new stock is arriving almost daily at the best prices around. Select from an abundance of evergreen and flowering shrubbery and container-grown roses. Decorative grasses, ground covers, and ivies line the path to the greenhouse, where it's full steam ahead for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. And it doesn't stop there. The backup stock is growing in the wings. Come enjoy the bounty of spring at Spanish Valley Nursery, where it's always first quality.
The city of Moab could have its first planned unit development. The City Planning Commission has given its tentative go-ahead to the proposal to put a new modular housing development in the Holiday Haven Mobile Home Park. The development calls for the eventual construction of up to 92 homes, which will be sold for an estimated price of about $60,000 to $70,000. The homes will be prefabricated, modeled after similar types of developments in other parts of the Southwest, especially in Arizona and in St. George, Utah. The sales will be unique in that while the homes will belong to the home buyers, the surrounding land will all be the property of the Homeowners Association, which will determine landscaping. Right now, Moab is going through a shortage of single-family homes and especially rental homes. The cost of buying houses has shot up, and real estate professionals say they see the demand continuing. But there are still a number of steps the developers must go through before they can begin construction. Eventually, the proposal will go to the Moab City Council. The most likely route for an alternative power line into Moab would be along the west side of the city, up 5th West to Highway 191, then back into town. But that could be years away. That's the news from the city's special committee set up to look at the proposal by Utah's Power and Light to provide an alternative source of electricity into the town's substation. According to the company, Moab is one of the few cities in the state with only one power route in. The new line would be operational during emergencies to the main line or during maintenance. The route chosen by the city committee called for bringing the line in from the south. It would head north along 5th West, past Holiday Haven, and up to the intersection with the highway, where it would then go off to the substation on the east side. According to the power company, the local branch here had obtained company approval last year to build it, and that time along 4th East, but local opposition and questions about the safety of the plan delayed it. Now the city's committee says they are satisfied with the project is safe, but UP&L must again go through its budget process to get the funds, and that could take time. We're coming into June, and that means local governments are looking at public finances. The Moab City Council will meet Thursday evening, May 21st, in the special budget workshop to plan for the fiscal year beginning in July. Putting aside money for infrastructure is expected to be a major part of the budget, and Channel 6 will be analyzing the different aspects of the Council's plans to tax and spend with some special budget reports in June. Meanwhile, this is the time for the county to look at its budget, in effect since January, to see where things have to be changed to meet the demands of the rest of the year. According to Clerk Fran Townsend, there are unexpected expenses so far this year, and they will have to be paid for by the carryover from last year's budget. She told the County Commission this week that a public hearing on the intentions should be held in the next few weeks.
On those budgets, I guess when we look at, are we going to open the budget? Is that what you said? Okay, when we open the budget, we're going to take a look at revenues and expenditures. And at that point we can see, well, we've had unanticipated revenues, and therefore we'd have to increase budgets to receive those unanticipated revenues.
Not really necessarily, but we had a larger carryover.
Are there any unanticipated revenues that are making any significant difference? There are none.
Well, kind of the opposite side of the track.
We've got unanticipated expenditures.
Yeah.
One area that has spent more than anticipated was the old Spanish Trail Arena at the Equestrian Center. According to Townsend, the expenses were higher than the commission expected.
The equestrian budget out there,
That's
having
real.
this being the first year we've ever done anything on it other than just try to pay for maintenance, I was wondering, you know, what's happening
A
out there.
classic example in that particular budget, your utilities, you budgeted a line item of $12,000. We've already spent $9,000 at the end of April on utilities out there.
And so then that leads me to the question, are there any revenues additional coming in to?
There should be.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, there should
Well, will we be able to see that? Or if
Or
they're
the
there?
Sandy.
Yes, yeah, she's brought in some revenues out there, yes. However, we budgeted some revenues to come up from out there.
Okay, then are we receiving any revenues higher than what we budgeted? You know, or not?
But overall, says Townsend, the county is not in bad shape and should be able to meet its budget without having to generate additional revenues. Memorial Weekend is the time for the return of the Friendship Cruise. It's the 34th running of the event, a cruise from the city of Green River down the Green River, then up the Colorado to Moab. The event was an annual highlight of the beginning of the summer season in southeast Utah, but low water and a lack of entrance led to the cancellation of it for the past 3 years. But now increased interest has led to it happening again this year. It's not too late to join in. Participants can register at the Green River Firehouse May 22nd and 23rd, with boats begin launching at the Green River State Park boat ramp until noon on Saturday. For more information, you can call the Canyon Country River Marathon Association in Green River at 564-3448. A computerized drawing system makes the work of the city easier, and Philomena the Osprey is looking for fish. We'll have those stories when the Channel 6 News continues.
Music of Moab, music for everyone. Jazz, country, rock, classical, blues, and top 40. Everything for your listening pleasure is now available at Music of Moab. Conveniently located in the Western Plaza, Music of Moab carries your favorite music, CDs, cassettes, and a wide selection of music accessories. Music of Moab, your music headquarters for southeastern Utah. Music of Moab, music for everyone.
Randy,
I just had a thought. That's just what I was thinking.
And so went the creation of Canyon Country Realty, doing business in the cold of the Old West.
Today is a very good day. You've got a new set of wheels and a license to drive. You, my friend, are on a roll. Can your life get better than this? You bet your spandex, because you're going to McDonald's to wheel some delicious deals. Only 59 cents for a regular hamburger, 69-cent cheeseburger, and 99 cents for a chicken fajitas or breakfast burrito. Wow. You ask someone to pinch you. Ah, a volunteer. Yes, your life is good. And at these prices, it only gets better at McDonald's today.
This moment of silence for your reading pleasure is brought to you by B. Osborne Books and Magazines.
Businesses in Monticello will be meeting fire codes or they'll end up paying for it. Fire Chief Joe Slade told the Monticello City Council last week that new statewide regulations will be enforced in the future. Those include inspection of places selling fireworks and certification before occupancy for new construction and modifications of commercial buildings. Apparently, a number of businesses in the city have not been complying in the past. Slade said reasonable time will be given to the companies to get into compliance, but that if the changes are not made, businesses will get cited. A proposed medical waste incinerator in Green River has run into some problems, but officials of the new company hoping to build it say it's still a go. The Utah Division of Air Quality has informed the developers that if construction doesn't begin, their permits for the project may be canceled. The incinerator has the strong support of Green River's leading politicians, including Mayor Ray Lloyd Hatt, who said the $5.5 million project will provide jobs and economic development. The incinerator will burn medical wastes shipped to Green River. The air quality officials decided the design of the facility would not cause undue pollution and gave the permit for the project in 1989. Normally, companies have 18 months to get construction underway, but this incinerator has been given an extension because of other delays in approval. One such problem has been management woes, including the sentencing of a former principal to federal prison on an unrelated bank fraud charge. But now the project has been bought by the Green River Biomedical Company, with partners in Atlanta, Georgia, and they say they will have the plant up and operating by December. But opponents of the project are not happy. They say the incinerator should not be allowed to go forward because of design changes made since the original approval. The construction boom in Moab, with new motels, restaurants, and homes, has been aided by new technology available through the city of Moab. The Moab Planning Department has been using special CAD, or computer-assisted drawing equipment, that has been invaluable not only for the city's Public Works Department, but for private builders and developers. In the past, maps of roads, property lines, easements, and public utilities have been estimations, and often the estimates were wrong. It sometimes took the city crews as long to find a sewer line under a street, for example, as it took to fix it. But over the last couple of years, the city has made a big step forward when, as a part of the Mill Creek Flood Control Project, the entire city was photographed from the air. City planner David Olson took advantage of a grant opportunity.
We had a block grant that we applied for, and we were going to do a study on Mill Creek, and I just kind of tied in the whole community with this block grant because 2/3 of the city's in the floodplain. And the Army Corps people said we needed better elevation maps. And I just tried to tie in as many layers of information as possible so we could get the whole city mapped out.
The resulting aerial photographs were digitized or turned into numbers and fed into a computer which broke down different elements to produce overlays of the town. Now city crews can know exactly where a property line is or where a water pipe joins another.
It's the accuracy of the maps and the ability to reproduce maps very quickly at any scale. And the amount of information on the maps is tremendous.
What are some of the things that you can see on those maps that you couldn't have seen a few years back?
Well, you could see just about anything that we wanted. When we had the aerial photos, we wanted to identify the water lines, sewer lines, all the what they call planimetric features, everything that you can see in the air looking down, all the buildings, all the bridges, culverts, elevations, contours. There was just parking lots, sidewalks, curbs, everything. So instead of going out there and measuring everything, you can measure it on a map, and it's a lot quicker and saves you a lot of money.
And it's more accurate.
Yeah, it's within a foot of accuracy, most of the information.
And as Moab looks more and more toward replacing or renovating its infrastructure, the information contained in the planning department's computer will save hundreds of hours of time and thousands of dollars. This Saturday is the special St. Jude Children's Hospital Wheels for Life Bike-a-thon at the City Park. Volunteers will ride and raise funds for the hospital that is in the forefront of battling catastrophic childhood diseases. And if you'd like to participate in any way, including making pledges to this worthwhile cause, please call Sally Wickham at 259-7915 for information. And the Bike-a-thon gets underway Saturday morning at 10 a.m. John and Marilyn Bicking are looking for help. The Bickings operate the Canyonlands Raptor Center, where they work to help rehabilitate sick and injured birds of prey, including eagles and hawks. The Bickings now have a special patient, an osprey, a hunting bird that feeds on fish. And the Bickings are asking local fishermen to help them feed the osprey, whom they have named Philomena. So if you catch any fish for Philomena, any kind from 8 or 10 inches or so to 1.5 feet in length, please call the Bickings at the Canyonlands Raptor Center, 259-5464. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
For the unusual gift, try Sherry's Country Store Gifts. Sherry grew up around country stores and knows there has to be something for all the 5 senses. Something to see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, and give the sense you're a welcome customer. The walls are filled with unique goods from different corners of the world. So for the memorable gift of quality, come to Sherry's Country Store Gifts in the Western Plaza.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Some rain, clouds, and fog hung over the valley on Thursday morning, keeping temperatures down to the 60s most of the morning. But by afternoon, the sun broke through and dried up Moab. And look for mostly dry and mostly sunny weather for the holiday weekend. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for partly sunny skies on Friday with summer temperatures returning. Look for afternoon highs around 90 degrees and overnight lows dropping down to 60. By Saturday and Sunday, we should see clear skies and hot days with mercury readings to the upper 90s and coming close to 100 degrees by Sunday. And on Memorial Day, look for sunshine and mid-90s temperatures. It's the holiday weekend coming up, and Channel 6 will take a few days off for Memorial Day weekend. Our next broadcast will be Tuesday evening, May 26th at 6:30 p.m. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting. Enjoy the holidays. Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting. Local sheriffs and police officers run down Main Street for the Utah Special Olympics. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
You don't have to travel farther than On the Edge Activewear at 415 North Main for great-looking clothes for the whole family. Keep it cool this summer with Ocean Pacific Swimwear featuring Keep It Blue, 1- and 2-piece suits with coordinating hats and bags. On the Edge also has swimwear and sunwear for men and children. Great tanks, tees, and even Wrangler Western wear, rugged denim, and dandy dress Western snap and button front shirts. Many styles of clothes for all styles of active people who live life on the edge. 415 North Main.
For the unusual gift, try Sherry's Country Store Gifts. Sherry grew up around country stores and knows there has to be something for all the 5 senses. Something to see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, and give the sense you're a welcome customer. The walls are filled with unique goods from different corners of the world. So for the memorable gift of quality, come to Sherry's Country Store Gifts in the Western Plaza.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
It was another record-breaking tourist weekend here in Moab with thousands of visitors streaming into town for the Memorial Holiday. Restaurants were packed, parking was at a premium, and even with the new motels, there wasn't enough room to be had. And the extra crowds mean more work for local law enforcement, says Grand County Sheriff Jim Nyland.
We just finished one of the biggest holiday weekends of the year. How was it from the point of view of law enforcement out in the county?
Well, we're really busy. We had a lot of different things going on. So we had a lot of requests for service. We helped out on a fire. We've taken care of a lot of traffic accidents. Had at least once medical rescue. We had 2 other requests for search and rescue to go out and try to find people that were lost. It's busy. We just have a lot of people here in this community now. I'll bet you we're up at least 35% above last year right now. Last year, we were busy, real busy in the spring, and as it got warmer, it tapered off a little, but we've had a lot more people here this year than we've had in the last 2 years put together so far.
But according to Nyland, while the number of crimes such as burglary are high, they don't seem to be increasing as fast as they have in the past.
Hasn't been quite as bad as it was last year, but however, we are still having the problem with vehicles being broken into and items being taken out of them. So, if they're going to leave their vehicles unattended, they should lock them, put all of their valuable property in the trunk, or at least in a position where it can't be seen from the outside. Our problem is more tourist-related right now with vehicles, camps, bicycles being left while people go on their hike. That type of thing.
Overall, it could be a long summer for local law enforcement.
How big it will grow, we really don't have much more room for any people right now. Everything that's been utilized as far as our motels, camps, sites, campgrounds here in town are completely full, and all the sites that we have outside are also full there too, and it's just expanding further and further out.
While it should be a busy summer for law enforcement, at least those who took part in Tuesday's Special Olympics torch run will be in good shape. Representatives of agencies in Moab took part in the event to raise money and publicize this year's Special Olympics in Utah. The Sheriff's Department, the Moab Police, and the Utah Highway Patrol gathered at the Miller Shopping Center for the run up Main Street to the Moab Visitor Center. Moab's participation was organized by Grand County Sheriff's Deputy Kurt Brewer, who explained to Channel 6 what was happening.
Well, this is for the Utah Special Olympics Law Enforcement Torch Run, and law officers throughout the state of Utah are running the torch for the Special Olympics. And it started in Blanding, and we're running the torch through Moab, and it'll go on to Green River and then through Castledale, and then it'll go on up to Price, and eventually it'll end up in Provo. Here in Moab, we've got officers from the Grand County Sheriff's Department and the Moab City Police Department and the Utah Highway Patrol.
And you'll be doing what?
We'll be running the torch, which was lit in Blanding, and we'll be running the torch through Moab. We're starting here at Miller's, and we'll end up at the Visitor Center. We're just mainly running the torch through downtown, and then the torch will be trucked on over to Green River.
The event is sponsored by the Utah Special Olympics Committee. On hand was Rania Georgia, the program's Director of Public Relations.
Special Olympics are a year-round sports training competition for children and adults with mental retardation. And there's a chapter in every state in the United States and over 100 countries in the world, and the Utah chapter currently serves over 2,000 athletes.
And what's the aim of this run today?
The aim of the run is twofold. Number one, to raise funds for our program, which the officers do, and number two, to raise public awareness. Getting the name out there and getting our athletes out there builds public awareness in the community of what Special Olympics does and who we do it for.
The Special Olympics allows youngsters who often have little chance for competition to learn the excitement and the discipline of working hard to improve their physical performance. And the role of Utah's police and sheriff's departments has been invaluable to that work.
It's a group of law enforcement officers throughout the state of Utah that decided to run the torch for the Special Olympics kids that they can't run. And so they got together, and we're just trying to help out the special kids.
Well, last year the law enforcement community raised over $50,000 for Special Olympics. So their role is to, they voluntarily run relays throughout the state and raise money for Special Olympics. They're pledged so many dollar amounts per mile by businesses and individuals, and they raise funds. And again, it's all voluntary. So these officers are doing it just to do it for our athletes, and it's great for us because our athletes appreciate the fact that the law enforcement community is doing it for them, and it gives them a great sense of pride to see their law enforcement people and their individual communities doing it for them.
The money that's raised in Utah will fund any Special Olympics kids in Moab to the Special Olympics in Provo, Utah, and then they'll compete in Provo in track and field and other events in Provo.
Local businesses and individuals are encouraged to join in the campaign with contributions to help local Special Olympians. And for further information or to make a contribution, you should call the Grand County Sheriff's Department and Deputy Kurt Brewer at 259-8115. Services will be held on June 13th for Moab resident Mabel Thompson, who died last week at Allen Memorial Hospital. She was 98 years of age. Services will take place on Saturday, June 13th, beginning at 2 p.m. at St. Francis Episcopal Church. A national advertising agency decides a Moab motel looks like Florida. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
Randy, I just had a thought. That's just what I was thinking.
And so went the creation of Canyon Country Realty, doing business in the cold of the Old West.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Rim Cyclery is the hub of the action in the mountain bike capital of the world, carrying the specialized Klein and Mountain Goat brands and fully staffed with experts in mountain bike service. Rim is also your stop for camping gear and accessories and sportswear featuring Gramici shorts and tops. Bikers, here's a simple rule. If you're gearing up, see Rim. If you've broken down, see Rim. 94 West, 100 North.
It's been a busy year for the film industry in Moab, But while there have been some major motion picture productions in town, the biggest chunk of film work has been on commercials. Companies around the world have zeroed in on the grandeur of Canyon Country as a backdrop to sell their products. One such company was Clairol, who was in town last week for a series of commercials. They used some of the surrounding scenery for location shots, and what they couldn't find, they created, as on Thursday when they turned the swimming pool area of the Apache Motel into Florida. And according to commercial producer Laura Nelson, it worked.
Making a television commercial for Clairol for hair color, and what we did was we sort of redesigned the pool area of the Apache Motel to make it look like Miami Beach, Florida.
Why did you pick Moab to do this shot?
Well, we came out to Moab because we needed to get a variety of scenes, and since Utah has such a diversity of locations, we shot up in the Arches, and that was a desert scene. Then we went down to Monticello, and we're making that look like Seattle, and then we found this, stumbled on this motel, and we thought we could make it look like Miami, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Much of the work on film projects here is filled with local help, from location scouts to script supervision and video assist work. Film companies draw from lists of local skills on file with the Moab Film Commission. So if you'd like more information on how you can get involved in the industry, you should drop by the Film Commission office in the Western Plaza Shopping Center. Solid rains over the holiday weekend was able to wash away much of the sand laid down by the city crews over the last 2 weeks, but much still remains. The city applied a seal coating to many of the streets on the east side of town, then put down sand to allow the coating to adhere to the street. The sand was annoying to local residents, but according to city officials, the complaints were not as many as in the past when the crews put down gravel instead. And Channel 6 has obtained evidence showing just what the city street sweeper has been up to. Local residents who have watched the machine scuffling down the street and the dust storm behind it have wondered why it was out there. But in this exclusive Channel 6 video, the answer is clear. The sweeper was sweeping up the sand and dumping it. Meanwhile, the sand is slowly disappearing off the street. Truckers driving through Utah will be stopped for random checks of drug and alcohol abuse. That's the result of Utah being chosen as one of 4 states in a special study to determine what kind of drug and alcohol problems there are or are not in the trucking industry. The study is funded by the federal government in response to fears that impaired drivers could be hauling hazardous or flammable materials. In other states involved include Nebraska, New Jersey, and Minnesota, and plans call for a total of 42,000 alcohol and about 10,000 random drug tests. The Moab City Council has a full agenda for its Tuesday evening meeting. The council will reopen the current budget to look at funds for the swimming pool and the city's executive department, as well as a request from the Seek Haven Family Crisis Center for emergency help to keep the shelter open. The council will also hear from the Moab Chamber of Commerce and the Moab Public Radio on allocating city funds to help them next budget year, which begins in July. And also on the agenda are requests to advertise zoning change requests for Holiday Haven Mobile Home to allow for the home construction in the park, and a request for a bed and breakfast license by Daryl and Billy Dalton for their home on 2nd North. And this is the first council meeting under the new schedule. From now on, council meetings will begin at 7 p.m. High school graduation is this week, and the high school students began their celebration early as they began gathering the signatures of classmates in their yearbooks. The seniors have to wait a few more days before officially getting their high school diplomas. Graduation ceremonies will take place this Thursday evening beginning at 8:15 p.m. in the amphitheater area of the high school. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Spring is busting out all over at Spanish Valley Nursery. Quality new stock is arriving almost daily at the best prices around. Select from an abundance of evergreen and flowering shrubbery and container-grown roses. Decorative grasses, ground covers, and ivies line the path to the greenhouse, where it's full steam ahead for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. And it doesn't stop there. The backup stock is growing in the wings. Come enjoy the bounty of spring at Spanish Valley Nursery, where it's always first quality. Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
Last week, the National Weather Service predicted clear skies over the valley during the holiday weekend. They were wrong. They also predicted temperatures climbing to near 100 degrees. They were wrong again. But a couple of miscalculations isn't about to stop the federal agency. So the National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for partly cloudy skies through Wednesday and Thursday. Look for afternoon high temperatures reaching the 90-degree mark and under hazy skies, and a chance of some showers in the late afternoons and evenings. The long-range forecast calls for more of the same, partly cloudy skies, highs near 90, and overnight lows dropping into the mid-60s. And that's the news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Tricia Maroney reporting.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. The Moab City Council turns down a bed and breakfast and looks at a possible moratorium on future sewer connections. And the Canyonlands Raptor Center is looking for help in feeding an osprey. We'll have those stories when Channel 6 News continues.
If it's housewares, fabrics, or school supplies you need, think Sprouse. If it's bed and bath items or health and beauty aids you're looking for, think Sprouse. For greeting cards, footwear, or toys, think Sprouse. For more values more often, think Sprouse. Now for extra savings, look for these special tags, Manager's Special Purchases, Jackpot Buys, and Discount Food and Snacks. Sprouse.
Oh, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
Spring is here, and if images of shovels, rakes, sprinklers, hoses, fertilizer, and peat moss are running through your head, run on down to Moab Hardware and Furniture. This year, save backstring with this handy thatching blade that fits right on your mower. Save money with Ace brand fertilizer, 20-pound bag, just $3.99. And we'll loan you the spreader at no charge. Moab Hardware and Furniture, the garden spot for all your gardening needs.
The Moab City Council has voted to turn down a request for a local residents to set up a bed and breakfast on 2nd North after hearing that neighbors are divided on the question. That decision took place at Tuesday's council meeting, where members voted unanimously against granting a license to Darrell and Billy Dalton. The Daltons own a home on the cul-de-sac at the west end of 2nd North. They wanted to rent out rooms in their home on an overnight basis. According to Darrell Dalton, they believed they had gone through all of the hoops needed to get the city's permission.
The house originally with the idea of putting a bed and breakfast in, and at that time, before we signed any papers or anything, we made an offer. I went to several different places and read the building codes and asked if that was zoned for a bed and breakfast, and I was assured that it was. So at that time, I went ahead and made the deal on the house with the bed and breakfast in mind. We came forward, applied for a license. We spent a couple $1,000s working on the house, getting it in compliance.
But council members heard that the question was deadlocked in the city's planning commission, with 2 members saying yes and 2 voting no. And the council members decided to join those voting against it.
At that planning commission meeting, and listened to both sides of the argument here as to whether to have or whether to not have. My understanding of the residents in that area would be basically the 4 homes that are in that circle, where we've got 1 home wanting it, 1 home in favor, and 2 homes against it. Seems to me that this is not a place to put another bed and breakfast.
Yes, I had this concern in the very beginning when we started this bed and breakfast thing, because it was going to put neighborhoods siding against each other, causing problems. You can all be good neighbors, and I have a real hard time, because in my neighborhood, and I'll be truthful with you, if someone comes in and wants to put a bed and breakfast, there's a lot of duplexes, and one of them is mine, you know, I'm going to protest it. And if I'm the only one protesting it, and they're right next door to me, you know, I feel that everybody should listen to that neighbor and not the 10 neighbors around them. And, you know, I'm to a point now that these bed and breakfasts are starting to cause, the last 2 that have come forth have had problems. Everyone before that has slid through, no problem. And I think everybody on this council had in mind the neighbors in that neighborhood, and if they did have problems with it, that they were going to have to take that into consideration. So, you know, I have a hard time if it's 1 against it and 10 for it, or 5 and 5 and all that. I don't think we add up those votes. I look at the impact of those long-term neighbors and how they're going to be affected.
It's really not healthy for us to move on, because if we have a stirred-up neighborhood, I think we have to honor the rights of these people to object to bed and breakfast in that neighborhood.
The council also heard from one of those neighbors, Bruce Louthan.
We have known the Daltons for some years, and they're very fine people as neighbors. We come before you to request a denial of this, not because of them, but because of the kind of thing that we believe you've already discussed amply, and that is the disturbance of basically a very clearly residential cul-de-sac neighborhood. We are sympathetically with the Daltons. We're also not very happy to have to bring this kind of a conflict to you, but we feel like we have to defend the situation, a good atmosphere we have now, and try to preserve it.
This is the second bed and breakfast license that has been denied by the city. A few months ago, a request to allow one on Stewart Lane, also on the west side of town, was turned away. The council also heard from members of the Spanish Valley Water and Sewer Improvement District on the future of available sewer hookups in the valley. The district has an allocation of 600 hookups. 400 of those have been connected, and another 100 sold but not yet in use. District officials say they see new development using up the remaining 100 hookups quickly, and they wanted to know if the city would consider releasing more space. But the response was, probably not. City officials say the sewer plant is getting closer to capacity, and there are times on busy weekends when the amount of effluent exceeds the ability of the plant to process it. They say their priority is to be sure that future home development within the city can be accommodated, and that could mean shutting out those not within the city limits. In fact, council members have decided to have engineers look at the future of the plant.
As we get the actual engineering reports on the sewer plant, possible need for expansion and the timing, and also what we're going to do on the major 16-inch line as far as the repairs, but the council will no doubt take certain actions which may include a moratorium on future unconnected sewers, etc. we should have that information within, let's say, 60 days.
In further business, the council decided to increase the current line items within their budget for the swim center and the executive department. The pool will get an additional $32,000, enough to operate until the new budget begins in July. The executive department, which includes elected officials, will have its budget increased by $4,500. And the council also voted to officially allocate $3,000 to Seek Haven Family Crisis Center to keep their shelter operating until July. At that point, Seek Haven board members hope the city will include it in the next budget. Well, a local expert on birds of prey is asking you to fish for Philomena. We'll have that story when Channel 6 News continues.
How do you have an instant party? Just buy a sack of subs at Subway. Take them home and serve them family style. It's more fun because everyone gets a taste of everything and no one has to cook. So if unexpected guests drop by unexpectedly or you don't feel like cooking dinner, pick up a sack of subs at Subway. We specialize in solving emergencies with food.
For more information on these and other fine sandwiches, visit the Subway near you.
Make Nelson's Heating and Refrigeration your first step to cool this summer with one of their new swamp coolers. Nelson's also offers parts, service, and installation. And if it's appliances you're after, Nelson's proudly presents Whirlpool and Maytag brands for low energy use, fewer repairs, and great warranties. Nelson's Heating and Refrigeration, serving Moab for 30 years, 1070 Bowling Alley Lane.
For all your insurance needs in Moab, it's Central Utah Insurance. Home, auto, business, and life. You can depend on the fast, friendly service at Central Utah Insurance, 471 South Main.
Music of Moab, music for everyone. Jazz, country, rock, classical, blues, and top 40. Everything for your listening pleasure is now available at Music of Moab. Conveniently located in the Western Plaza, Music of Moab carries your favorite music, CDs, cassettes, and a wide selection of music accessories. Music of Moab, your music headquarters for southeastern Utah. Music of Moab, music for everyone.
Grand County High School seniors will celebrate the graduation of the class of '92 this Thursday evening. Ceremonies get underway at 8:15 p.m. at the high school amphitheater. Commencement speaker will be Gene Leonard, former Grand County High School teacher and assistant principal, who last year closed out an educational career that spanned more than 4 decades. Graduation ceremonies will be open with an invocation by Terry Lynn Warner and an address by Student Body President Mike Palmer. The salutatorian is Alice White, and the valedictorian is Carrie Engelbright, and all Grand County residents are invited to attend. The Canyonlands Raptor Center is asking you to go fish for Philomena. That's the message from Southern Utah's raptor rehabilitator, Marilyn Bicking, who wants to have help from local residents to gather fresh food for the Raptor Center's latest patient, an adult female osprey found in Emery County. This is Philomena, a fish-eating bird of prey, and Bicking says when the osprey was brought to the Raptor Center, it was extremely sick.
This is the first time we've had this kind of a bird of prey, and it's called an osprey. And an osprey is strictly a fish-eating bird of prey. In the state of Utah, they migrate into nest in Flaming Gorge, Fish Lake, or Millsite Reservoir, which is near Ferron. And this bird was found down in an agricultural field in Ferron.
What was wrong with it?
We're not sure. She was extremely weak, couldn't fly. She was brought immediately to Dr. Sorensen in town. He x-rayed her, examined her, took blood. She has no fractures. We thought she might have had lead poisoning. No. She did show in her white blood count a little bit of an infection, and we just finished giving her antibiotics. She was on them for 2 weeks.
Marilyn has been caring for the bird and believes it's getting better.
So what's the prognosis?
I think it's excellent. I did speak to Dr. Mark Pokers, who's a veterinarian in Tufts University, a teacher, and he's an expert on the fish-eating birds. And his theory, he said occasionally he gets an osprey who is very weak like that and no obvious injury or disease. And his feeling is that over time they build up pesticides in their body fat. And when they migrate to their nesting areas, of course, they burn off that fat pretty quick and it releases the pesticides in their system. He said there's no treatment for it, you just support them. So if this is the case with her, let's say she's one of the lucky ones.
Ospreys are magnificent fishermen, plunging hundreds of feet in the sky and grabbing fish with their sharp talons. And like highly specialized birds of prey, they can only eat fish. The Division of Wildlife Resources has provided some food for Philomena, but Bicking says she needs help from local residents.
What I need from my community is I need you to go out and fish because this bird needs 2 fresh as possible fish every day, anywhere from 8 to 21 inches long. The division has fished for us, and so far a catfish seems to be her favorite, but she hasn't turned down carp or other things either.
Birds of prey suffer at the hands of human development. Much of their habitat has been encroached. Many are killed by vehicle traffic. And as with Philomena, they can get sick from pesticides and herbicides. The Raptor Center tries to do what it can to return as many of these sick birds or injured birds to the wild. And in this case, the future looks good.
I think our goal is, if we're very lucky and everything goes well, I think we can get her out of here in a month. And she would be brought right back to the area she came from. In fact, I think we're assuming that it was Mill Creek Reservoir, even though she was found in the field in Farron, so we would just bring her back to Mill Creek Reservoir.
And to make that happen, you're going to need some local residents to help you out by hunting for her.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing the community could do for me, is go out and fish for Philomena. That's, for her sake, you have no idea how far that would go to getting her back to the wild quickly and in very good health.
If you can help out the Canyonlands Raptor Center by fishing for Philomena, you can call Marilyn or John Bicking here in Moab at 259-5464 and join in the effort to return the osprey to the wild. And if you're looking for places to fish and you have a valid Utah fishing license, you might want to try some of the LaSalle Mountain Lakes. According to Utah Wildlife Report, Dawn's, Hidden, and Uwa lakes have all been stocked, and Warner Lake was scheduled to get a delivery of fish on Wednesday. And fishing at Ken's Lake here in the valley is considered very good. Salmon eggs are recommended, with the best fishing along the dam or at the Mill Creek Inlet. Well, up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when Channel 6 News continues.
For the best RV camp park in Moab, it's Holiday Haven, with oversized spaces to accommodate the largest RV and cool, comfortable tent sites under mature shade trees, all with a convenient central location. Holiday Haven is also Moab's finest mobile home park that offers country living in the city, an established park with pool, playground, laundry facilities, and a retired section. For comfortable RV or mobile home living, it's Holiday Haven, 400 North, 5th West.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Through the seasons, through the miles, through the rough country of southeastern Utah, we get you through. We're GTE. We're your telephone company.
Well, there's been some heavy runoff from mountain rains. But sunshine stayed in the valley on Wednesday, with afternoon highs rising into the mid-80s. And look for nice weather now for the rest of the week. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for mostly sunny skies through Thursday, with some patches of afternoon clouds. Look for temperatures to climb, with highs once again above the 90-degree mark, overnight lows down to around 65. And expect more of the same over the weekend, with partly cloudy skies Friday through Sunday and highs getting up to around 95 degrees. And that's news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Dee Tranter reporting. Have a good day.
Welcome to the Channel 6 News. I'm Ken Davey reporting. Grand County holds its annual delinquent property tax auction. We'll have that story when the Channel 6 News continues.
For the unusual gift, try Sherry's Country Store Gifts. Sherry grew up around country stores and knows there has to be something for all the five senses. Something to see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, and give the sense you're a welcome customer. The walls are filled with unique goods from different corners of the world. So for the memorable gift of quality, come to Sherry's Country Store Gifts in the Western Plaza.
This moment of silence for your reading pleasure is brought to you by B. Osborne Books and Magazines.
Spring is busting out all over at Spanish Valley Nursery. Quality new stock is arriving almost daily at the best prices around. Select from an abundance of evergreen and flowering shrubbery and container-grown roses. Decorative grasses, ground covers, and ivies line the path to the greenhouse, where it's full steam ahead for flowers, vegetables, and herbs. And it doesn't stop there. The backup stock is growing in the wings. Come enjoy the bounty of spring at Spanish Valley Nursery, where it's always first quality.
It was Property Tax Delinquency Sale Day in Grand County on Thursday. Each May, the county auctions off real estate if taxes haven't been paid for more than 4 years. And a larger than normal crowd showed up. According to County Clerk Fran Townsend, the interest in Moab property reflects the growth of the town.
Because of the area and the way that it's growing, I think that people is generating interest, I think, in people that maybe otherwise would not have been here to be.
But bidders had slim pickings, with only 3 parcels up for sale. The aim of the county is not to punish the property owners who owe back taxes, but to get those properties back on the tax rolls. The county publishes lists of the delinquent properties in April and throughout May, and at any time during that period, people who owe money can pay. And many property owners do just that.
We had, I believe that we started out, I believe, with 21 parcels. And then from the time that they were turned over to me by the treasurer, and then by the time I got them in the paper, additional ones were redeemed. So it's, people work hard to keep their property.
One piece of land, about 5 acres in the Cisco area, owed about $450 in back taxes and penalties. The final bid was for $800, but the county doesn't get to keep all that money.
The law only provides that we can only collect, I mean, the only thing that's owed to the county are the taxes and the penalties and interest that we have assessed, plus the cost of advertising and having the tax sale. We add an additional monies to each piece of property for that. Then anything above that, by law, either we can return to the owner of register, or we send that into unclaimed property to the state, and then they find the owner.
Property owners do have 4 years to make good on back taxes before the properties are put up for auction, but remember that each year the tax bill increases because of penalties and interest payments. Despite the drought of the last few years, southeast Utah has been lucky to avoid major forest fires. But it was just 3 years ago, in the summer of 1989, that devastating fires destroyed thousands of acres in the region. And state and federal fire officials warn that Utah again faces the threat of fires this summer. The Division of State Lands, the Forest Service, and the BLM are all bringing firefighters into the state earlier this year to be able to go after small fires aggressively. And they're asking for help. All of us who use public lands are being asked to be especially careful this summer with any campfires or the use of mechanical equipment that can set off sparks. Officials believe the situation will get worse as the summer goes on. Grand County Search and Rescue spent a busy Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning. They were called out at about 11 p.m. Tuesday evening with a report of a lost mountain biker in the Porcupine Rim area. And at about 3 a.m. they found not only the lost biker, but 4 others who were also lost, but not reported missing. 11 members of the search and rescue team were called out and worked closely with the Grand County Sheriff's Department. And the Sheriff's Department says this year so far is the busiest ever for the team. For many visitors passing through Moab for a few days, it can look like a dry and dusty town. But throughout the city there are special oases created by local residents. One such location was toured by the Friends of Moab early Wednesday evening. The Friends of Moab is an organization that works to provide information on water-wise gardening and landscaping. Wednesday's tour was of the gardens of Clyde Deal and Jenny Roper. From the front, the comfortable log home looks like many other well-kept houses in town, but behind the house itself is almost an acre of terraced gardens planted with a mixture of cultivated and wild flowers, trees, and landscaping ornaments. It's taken years to get the garden to its current state, but with most of that work now done, maintenance is low considering the size of the land. One reason is that many of the plants are native to this area and can survive and prosper with only a minimum of care, and mixed in are patches of roses, delphinium, and other flowers. According to Tom Keeney of Friends of Moab, the landscaping can serve as a model for many other homes in town.
What they are doing is they're just about completely eliminating grass, and they're going to just a terrific variety of ground covers.
The Friends of Moab plan future tours and volunteer gardening projects in town, and for further information you can call 259-8409. The city and county will get together one more time to come up with an answer to the question, who should run the local landfill? And the Forest Service honors the participants who worked to recover the victims of February's avalanche. We'll have those stories when the Channel 6 News continues.
Slip into something comfortable for spring with on-the-edge activewear and contoured Birkenstock sandals. Birkenstock, lightweight, flexible, long-lasting, and now more stylish than ever in a spectrum of spring colors to match any wardrobe. And if we don't have your style, we'll special order it for you. Find the meaning of comfort with activewear and Birkenstock at On the Edge.
Best Value Foods, stress-free shopping where the service is unbelievable.
Today is a very good day. You've got a new set of wheels and a license to drive. You, my friend, are on a roll. Can your life get better than this? You bet your spandex because you're going to McDonald's to wheel some delicious deals. Only 59 cents for a regular hamburger, 69-cent cheeseburger, and 99 cents for a chicken fajitas or breakfast burrito. Wow, you ask someone to pinch you. Ah, a volunteer. Yes, your life is good, and at these prices it only gets better at McDonald's today.
Randy,
I just had a thought. That's just what I was thinking.
And so went the creation of Canyon Country Realty, doing business in the code of the Old West.
Grand County and the City of Moab will try again to solve the question of who should run and who should pay for the local landfill. Right now, the landfill, located along Sand Flats Road, is operated by the county, but commissioners say it's costing them too much money. In fact, their 1992 budget only allocated enough funds to pay for it through June of this year. The county wants the city to come up with half the yearly cost of the facility, but city council members, saying it's a county-wide facility, believe the most equitable way to share the cost is through setting up a special service district and spreading that cost out equally among all residents. The commission and the city council will meet Thursday evening to discuss that question. The meeting, open to the public, will take place at 7:30 p.m. at City Hall. The City Planning Commission will hold its regular meeting Thursday evening. Agenda points include reviewing amendments to the parking laws in town and a discussion of prohibiting the storage of commercial vehicles in residential neighborhoods. And the Planning Commission will also look at a proposed subdivision on the north end of town by Paul Cox and Carl McIntosh. That meeting gets underway Thursday evening at 7:30 in room 11 of the Red Rock Elementary School. Plans for the Interagency Visitor Center are moving forward, say officials of the Canyonlands Natural History Association. Last year, CNHA, federal agencies, and Grand County got together and informally agreed to build the center to house visitor services of all the entities in one location at the corner of Main and Center Street. Progress has been stalled while design plans were studied, but now CNHA says the project is ready to move forward, and actual construction could begin as early as this summer. The plan calls for having the new center open by the spring of next year. Canyonlands National Park has experienced an explosion of visitation in recent years, and park officials are looking for help in planning ways to manage it. Park Superintendent Walt Dabney has announced that his staff is revising the backcountry management plan, and they want local residents to give them ideas on what issues to consider. Since 1985, the park has experienced an average jump in visits of 19% per year, and that kind of growth places strains on the ability of the park to meet the needs of the visitors and at the same time protect the natural and visual quality of the land. So if you have any suggestions, please send them to the Canyonlands National Park Superintendent's office here in Moab at 125 West, 2nd South, and comments will be accepted until July 15th of this year. This weekend is the annual Elks Club 4-man scramble golf tournament to aid Grand County students heading off to college. The entry fee for the tournament is $200 per team, and the money raised goes to the Elks Scholarship Fund. Already this spring, the Elks have awarded $2,400 to 6 deserving Grand County students to help pay for their higher education. So if you'd like to get involved in this worthy event, you can call Jim Corwin at 259-8136 or Val Mon at 259-6255. The tragic LaSalle Mountain avalanche in February of this year was remembered at a special ceremony at the Forest Service building Wednesday evening. The snowslide on February 12th killed 4 Moab residents, Maribel Loveridge, Bill Turk, Jeremy Hopkins, and Mark Yates. Dozens of local residents moved into action that weekend from the Grand and San Juan County Sheriff's Offices, the Search and Rescue Team, the Hasty Response Avalanche Team, and a host of others. Battling harsh weather, the searchers recovered the bodies of the victims and returned them for religious and memorial services. And this week, Moab District Ranger Jerry Shaw took the opportunity to acknowledge the hard work of all those involved.
We don't have the opportunity to do a lot of things in the Forest Service when it comes to search and rescue. There's certain things we can do and certain things we can't do. I guess one of the things that we can do is say thanks. That's what we want to do tonight. And basically, as organizations of search and rescue, the Sheriff's Department, I don't think there's enough thank yous said to each of you to take care of what you do.
Participants in the recovery were given certificates of appreciation. The avalanche recovery was the first test of the newly formed Hasty Response Team, a group of volunteer cross-country skiers here in town who put their skills and experience to work during emergency situations. One of the avalanche victims, Mark Yates, was a central figure in organizing that Hasty team while he was heading up the Avalanche Awareness Center. One of the people Mark worked closely with was local outfitter Phil Atkins, and accepting the award for Phil was Mark's wife, Mary Yates.
I sort of resented all the time that Mark spent on the Hasty team because, you know, he worked so late as it was. The earliest he'd ever get home at night would be 8 or 8:30, and that was our only time together during the winter. He worked, you know, every day, and I know the nights that he was doing the Hasty team, sometimes I just go to bed, you know, I didn't even know when he came in, and there was part of me that, I mean, I knew how important it was, but I just kind of, there was a little piece of me. The only way that I feel like I can really thank you is I hope to be a member of the Hasty team next year.
A big part of the avalanche awareness work in the LaSalle Mountains next winter will be the education of skiers on the safest ways to enjoy backcountry skiing. Up next is the Canyon Country weather forecast when the Channel 6 News continues. Summer is here, and with the long daylight, now's a good time to get out to the Moab Golf Course for an early morning or evening round of fresh air and exercise. Described as one of the most beautiful courses in the state, the Moab Golf Course has all you need to get started in the sport, from club rentals to private and group lessons, and a snack bar, driving range, and complete pro shop. Why let the sunshine go to waste? Call the Moab Golf Course at 259-6488.
Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou, Bessie Lou.
They're famous, they're fun, they're riders in the sky. See them live on June 6th at 7:30 p.m. at the Old Spanish Trail Arena.
As I go riding merrily along.
First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab, has a special offer for homeowners. Now is the time to fix up your home with a new addition, kitchen cabinets, storm windows, siding, or a new deck. First Western National Bank can make any qualified homeowner an FHA Title I loan up to $17,500. Come in and see Southeast Utah's loan specialist at First Western National Bank, your hometown bank in Moab.
Bright sunshine stayed in the valley through Thursday morning, but the clouds moved back in again by afternoon, and look for more of the same over the next few days. The official National Weather Service forecast for Moab and Canyon Country calls for variable skies through Friday, with afternoon temperatures climbing into the mid-80s to low 90s, and overnight readings around 65 degrees. And the weather should stay through the weekend with early sunshine, thermometer readings in the 90s, and some afternoon and evening clouds with a chance of some showers, especially near the mountains. And that's the news of Moab and Canyon Country. I'm Ken Davey reporting. Thanks for tuning in.